Well, I hope you folks have enjoyed all of this as much as I have, as much as our team has. I'm just so thankful for Bobby, for the team that has put all of this together. You know, I was thinking through just some of the things that I've heard, the messages I've heard, and I'm looking forward to what's going to be spoken today. You know, let's just be honest. You heard the statistics yesterday. There are so few people who know how to make disciples. Would you agree? Yeah. They don't maybe understand that they are a disciple, that they've been called to be a disciple and then called to make disciples. And so they define themselves as Christians, which is different than a disciple. They don't know that they should do anything other than attend a church, maybe check a box, maybe put some money in as it goes by. If you're really spiritual, then it means you get to be an usher, right? And support some way somebody else's work. They don't know. And let's be honest, there's a reason why they don't know. I think it's because of the discipleship methods. We've made converts instead of disciples. And again, a lot of pastors in America, if you were to say, do you know what it means to be and to make a disciple? They would usually say yes, because the definition they were given was one who preaches and teaches. Right? One who, keeps all the plates spinning, the organizational system, however big it is. That's what it's all about, the preaching and the teaching. And that's disciple making. And again, I would say that's part of it, but it's an incomplete version. And if that's what you fall into, it's not really reproducible from your people. I mean, they can't actually do what you're doing. They don't have a venue to get up and do what you're doing. They typically don't have the education the way you do, and we've defined discipleship as education and then skill sets, gifting to teach and to preach and do all those kind of things. And so what's happening is when you define discipleship as Jesus defined it, and you put some legs on that, most pastors will say, well, okay, then I have never been discipled that way. Which makes sense. They can't share with people something they never accepted. They don't know how to do. And so they really don't know how to do that. They know how to build a system that preaches, and when somebody listens to the sermon and accepts Christ, they come forward, we take them through a class, we maybe talk to them about baptism and all of that. And again, that's not very reproducible, because when your people go to church, go to work, they can't call, hey, lunch break today, I'm going to preach a sermon, and they can't reproduce what you're showing them, and they've never had anybody show them what we're talking about, and so there's this big disconnect. And so when pastors come and they go, okay, that's what it's supposed to be, I don't know how to do that, then that leads to a crisis of belief. Okay, if my job is to not do it for people, my job is to show people how to do that, model for them how to do that. I don't know how to do that. I'd have to undo all the things that everybody expects me to do. I mean, they expect me to be at the hospital. They expect me to do the funerals. They expect me to do the weddings. They've been trained like little kids to want specific things. And your job is to do it, and it might cost me my job. And so not only am I bound by what I've been taught and what I've actually built and somebody else built and I'm trying to sustain, but I don't know how to do it. And that's scary. I have to deconstruct my life in some way. And to come to a conference like this, and if we're really being honest, for many of you, we're asking you to deconstruct your life and do something you really don't know how to do. And to do something that could be very painful. Because think about it, relationships are scary and people are a mess, and it's much easier to write a 4-part sermon and do a series than it is to get into the mess of people's lives. That's scary, that's dangerous. And so you come and you're like, well, okay, I'll just preach harder. I'll go back and I'll preach that discipleship means it's King Jesus, and I'm going to follow Jesus. And if I just preach better and tell better biblical concepts and stories, that way I can say I'm about discipleship. I'll restructure the church so that the classes are all about that. And because I got to make people happy, and because I don't know how to do it. And, here's the problem. Let me just say this to you. When Jesus went to his disciples, he said, first, leave your stuff, come and follow me. Right? Remember the fish and the nets? Drop the nets, just caught a bunch of fish. Just leave it, come and follow me. He didn't do the miracle to make him rich. He did the miracle to show him who he was. And then said, come and follow me. How scary was it for people? Typically, fishermen are good with fishing poles. They're not so good with people. Right? People are scary. You're asking me to leave my business. You're asking me to do all this stuff, right? That's scary. Being a disciple is uncomfortable. Someday they were going to go into the world that wasn't all that happy to see them. When Jesus said, go into the world and make disciples, he was sending them into like sheep among wolves. It was going to cost them all their life. That's very uncomfortable. Jesus became uncomfortable by leaving heaven and coming down here for us, doing what we needed rather than what made him comfortable. Would you agree with that? He modeled, this is what it looks like. I'm leaving heaven, the throne. I'm coming down here. Now I'm asking you to leave what you know, and I'm asking you to come and follow me into the unknown. Faith. When we go around the world, you go to Pakistan or wherever, you ask somebody to come to know Jesus, it's not like it is in America, right? It doesn't take a lot of courage here. I mean, it should, but it doesn't the way we preach the gospel. At very worst, your family might, I can't believe you fell for that. They're going to kill you. You go to another country, it takes courage to actually follow Jesus because it may cost your life, right? Did you know that for your people to actually make disciples where they're coming from? See, if you're a pastor, it takes some courage to go, hey, everybody here's a Christian. I'd like to disciple you. They already have some interest in Jesus and they're here, right? And so you're not really risking, even by asking some people in your congregation to come and follow Jesus, because they're already Christians. They already came on the Christian turf. They may say no. I mean, you're risking they say no. But it doesn't take that much courage because the system we built, we're insulated from it. The problem is our people in their jobs, where they go to school, in order for them to make disciples, it's going to take risk. They're going to have to go to a business where it's not everybody who's crossed the line to come to the church. They're going to have to actually say to somebody, hey, you want to come read the Bible with me at lunch, to a person that might say no, might even get them in trouble at work in our current day culture. It takes risk, getting uncomfortable, trying something they don't know how to do for them to participate in the mission of Christ. And the problem is most pastors are oftentimes so safe in this environmental system they're in, spinning all the plates, not getting involved in people's life, but they're preaching, go into the world and make disciples. In the context in which our people live, that's risky. What does that even look like? The models at the church, they got a place where they can actually preach the gospel. Nobody throws anything at them, says anything to them, drops the F-bomb on them. Well, I hope. I mean, in most churches, probably not. See, here's what I'm trying to say in all this. You might be wondering. When you come to a conference like this, true discipleship takes risk. Leaving that which is comfortable, even a religious system, where everybody expects you to do certain things, going, you know what, I don't know how to actually make disciples, because no one ever discipled me, but I'm going to risk. I'm going to try and fail. And that's going to be okay. I'm going to step out into the faith and start doing what Jesus did and doing what he told his disciples to do. And I'm not going to worry about changing the church system. I am going to become a disciple of Jesus who is courageous. I want them to be courageous. I want them to risk. I want them to restructure their life to follow Jesus, King Jesus. I'm willing to leave behind the religious system that's about discipleship and about concepts, and I'm willing to move beyond something that's about discipleship to discipleship, beyond concepts to actions, where it gets dangerous and messy and mistakes are made. I'm going to rather, by the way, that changes your preaching. You now start preaching about real stories, real situations, real things that you're in, not just books about concepts and you know, big words, ideas that theoretically should work. You're telling stories about real things in your life, the ups and the downs. It changes the way you preach. It changes the way you live. And when you start doing that, things start changing. So what are you going to do with this? Another conference, get inspired, go back and try to inject discipleship into your already developing systems that take all of your time? Or are you willing to go, I'm willing to change. I'm asking everybody else to change their life. I'm willing to change my life, the way I do things. That's going to change me. That's going to be risky. Now you're going to start experiencing Jesus as he speaks through you in situations that you're not familiar with. I'm going to start not preaching me and not worry about what I know. I'm going to look at the opportunities that I have with people that I don't know, that I'm not like, because I'm going to show them Jesus, and Jesus is going to work in me, in my fear, in my not knowing what I'm doing, in all of that. Jesus steps in. I experience Jesus. It changes me. And then as I'm changed, the people around me start seeing something different. They start seeing a model rather than a theory. We change the world for Jesus one person at a time, and it starts with us.